welcome to the Chemistry 121 Supplemental Instruction series of videos. I'm Joey Smokey, and in this episode I'm going to be talking to you guys about various equations that relate with pH. But, I forgot the definition of that. I'll be back in a minute.
pH stands for power of hydrogen. Essentially, it's a measure of hydrogen ion concentration in a solution. Ooh, Joey's back. I'll talk to you later.
I don't know about him. I'm going to get him after this episode. Alright, so, I don't got to do the definition now, he did that. So, for equations representing pH, if you have any kind of solution with any kind of mixture of acid or base or whatever, you can use these four equations to find out the concentrations of everything else, okay? So basically, if you know any one of these things, like if you just know pH, you can find out everything else just from the relationship of these equations. So the main equation you're going to want to dedicate to memory is pH, which is equivalent to the negative log of the hydrogen ion or hydronium ion concentration. Now these brackets basically represent concentration, like molarity, for example. So if you know you have a particular molarity of some kind of an acid, you just pop that number into here, you take the log of that number, and then take the negative of that number. And that will give you pH. Now if you want to go the other way, for example, if you want to find the pH from this equation, basically you just got to remember your math skills and go backwards. And if you look in your textbook or ask your instructor or something like that, you'll be able to figure out how to do that on your calculator. It's pretty easy. So, you also can do the same thing with pOH. So if you know the hydroxide concentration in a solution, molarity or whatever, just pop that number in, log, take the negative, and that's your pOH. Now you can relate the pH and the pOH with this equation right here. Whenever you add these two up, you're always going to get 14. Okay? So if you know one of these things, basically you can just subtract that from 14 and you'll get the other one. So you can kind of see how all these are related. If you notice one thing, you can figure out everything else. One more equation, this one here, is basically talking about the ionization of water. Or in other words, if you multiply these two numbers together, which is your hydrogen, your acid concentration, hydronium, whatever it is, times your base concentration, the hydroxide. Multiply them together, you're always going to get this number, 1 times 10 to the negative 14, which is a pretty small number. So, for example, if a problem gives you, your acid concentration and asks for the base, it might be best to use just this equation because you just divide that number by whatever the hydrogen concentration is, and you'll get your hydroxide concentration. So basically, just think about the relationship between all these equations, and on a test, if it gives you one thing and asks you to find everything else, you'll be fine because you know the relationship between them. So there you go, pH. I'm going to go make some battery acid.
The power of hydrogen.